When I was a kid, I just thought, automatically, I just assumed that by now we'd be traveling in Pan Am Space Clippers. Now, never mind, there's no Space Clippers and not even a Pan Am anymore.
We used to do stuff like a cardboard box. You get in it wrapped up with as many blankets and stuff as you could. At the top, we have this long flight of stairs, you know, and it was like a moon shot, you know, to get in this box, and, you know, you're all wrapped up in this big, tight thing, and then your brothers would shove you off the top of the stairs. And
I had a football helmet on and a walkie-talkie, and I jumped off my roof. My brother was down below, and it was a short trip through space, but it was effective. I'm glad I had the helmet.
My parents brought me to NASA when I was, I think, 10 or 11. We went to the Space Center, and I got a little book of stickers, and I joined the NASA club, and they sent me little things every month. And I was very into it for a while, and had a Saturn V model on my desk.
We had the G.I. Joe space capsule and all that stuff, and it was, you know, the sliding. I remember clearly the sliding plastic panel and the G.I. Joe in a kind of a Mercury suit. It was sort of silverish, and you'd bring him out there, and I think even the helmet had a little visor that went up and down. Oh, yeah, astronaut. You bet. Played that all the time.
With unparalleled courage, the astronauts risked their lives to conquer a world that has fascinated human beings for centuries. Who are these voyagers?
I think the astronauts were modern-day Renaissance men.
They were engineers, and they were PhDs, they were metallurgists, they were rocket scientists. It wasn't just a matter of, they were great pilots. Buzz Aldrin, he shot down MiGs in Korea and stuff like that. But they also were incredibly schooled guys, and they had the analytical minds of engineers. That you can take something like the Freedom 7 spacecraft, and they will understand where the wiring goes and how it connects. I mean, all these systems all interconnect, and you don't just flick a button and turn something on. You flick 16 different buttons that power up certain switches that make something possible in order for you to make adjustments to something that can happen.
The intellectual endurance, that's so true.
It's awesome. I mean, I think that I can sort of work hard on a problem all night long, and I think these guys burn me down.
To be an astronaut in the 1960s, I think, was like being a rock star. You know, I think they were all full of pee and vinegar, and there's a couple stories about them. The original 7 used to drag race their Corvettes through the streets and highways of Houston.
None of them had ever been second in anything. They all thought they were going to be the first one to go up. They all thought they were going to be the first one to walk on the moon.
They were cowboys. You know, the world was fixated on these guys.
Everything had to do with the moon. You know, toothpaste. It's what the astronauts use. You know, this car. Hey, the astronauts drive this car. You know, I mean, it was just the fever was caught by everyone.
Certainly, the ladies were interested in the astronauts. Sort of like being Tom Jones in the '60s, but you get to go to the moon.
The chariot transporting these gods the 250,000 miles to the moon was the Saturn V rocket. It possessed 1/10 the power of an atomic bomb.
At every turn during the flight, from the liftoff to the splashdown, at every turn, there's the potential for complete disaster. You know, for one, the rocket blowing up on ignition, the capsule not separating and falling like a dart to the earth with the booster behind it.
I called Wally and I said, you know, I'm sitting there thinking about you being in Gemini, and, you know, the rocket ignites and it doesn't go anywhere and there's a shutdown, and you're sitting on top of 550 tons of liquid fuel. You get an abort handle in your hand and you don't pull it. Why don't you pull it? You know? You don't pull it because who knows what that abort handle thing will do. They know what they think it'll do, but no one's ever done it. So, you know, they got the balls to just say, hold on for a sec, and walk out of that 550-ton bomb and come back 2 days later and take off and do it again.
I was having lunch one time with Dave Scott, and I asked him what was it like to get into the elevator at the bottom and to go up slowly past this monstrous, white, hissing, belching rocket that was, you know, the biggest thing that was ever built, and get into a little tiny capsule on the top of it. I mean, what were your thoughts going by that thing? And he said, said he wasn't even looking at it. He was looking at the view, because it's a cool view from up there. And I found that to be pretty amazing, to be quite honest with you. I'm looking at the view.
They really know how to handle themselves under pressure. I remember Dave telling me about the mission he was on with Neil Armstrong, where their capsule started spinning out of control.
And they're going to pass out in a few more seconds.
And I said, well, were you scared? What were you thinking?
And you're just scared to death, right?
He said, well, we knew that we were just a few seconds away from reaching our physiological limits. Physiological limits? You mean dying? Is that what you're trying to say to me, Dave? You were a couple of seconds away from dying? Ah!
You know, we're in that business because we're used to handling situations that are not good situations. So there's very seldom any panic. So you have to be careful that when these are acted out, that actors and directors who are normally interested in excitement and challenge have to keep it sort of cool to represent the culture.
The most challenging thing is that Dave Scott is saying, no, wouldn't have happened like that. It's, you know, it's sometimes, there's moments where he's like, it's like saying, no, the shark wouldn't eat people. The shark wouldn't eat, do something else. Like,